How's it going, guys? It's Aaron Miller again, coming to you from the beginning of my next food plot. This right here where I'm standing was sprayed about 2 weeks ago with just a glyphosate mixture that I had available at the house. As you can tell, it did not kill everything, but it did start to get a kill. And so what I'm going to do today is just give you a quick rundown of my plans for the future on this, and then you will start seeing some videos from this plot as I actually go through building the plot. The last series that I have posted on my other plot is one that I'm coming to you after the fact and just sharing with you what it is that I've done. I'm hoping to share with you guys what it is that I'm going to do in here and then share that on video as I do it. So as we go through this process, I'm going to be trying to bring you some pictures of before and after. I'm going to be trying to bring you some video footage of myself and possibly a friend of mine coming in here in the next couple of days and start doing the clearing. And then we're going to start looking at what kind of soil do we need to work on here. Do we need to add a lot of amendments? Do we need to burn off the vegetation? What are we going to do? And at this point in the year, it's going to be hard to do a lot of burning because it's been pretty dry. We just started getting a little bit of rain this week, about 1.5 inches actually, and that's the first rain we've had in over a month. So I'm not real keen on doing a lot of burning right now until we actually start seeing some rain in the forecast. With that being said, the next time we see rain in the forecast could be when I need to plant. So we're going to be doing some leaf blowing, some raking, trimming the bushes. We're going to be doing a lot of brush cutting here in a little while in the next couple of days. So hopefully you guys will stay with me on that. As you guys see this property where I'm standing, to my left and to my right is basically an access road. The property that you have been seeing me do my food plot videos on is literally about half mile up the, maybe not even a half mile up the road to my right. And it is on 20 acres with a little bit of pasture land and a little bit of woods. It's about 50-50. And it's not a very wide piece of property. It runs several hundred yards from the middle of my plot in both directions, and you're on the neighbor's property. So it's not a real big place. It's a pass-through type of a property. This property is about 90 acres. And so there's a lot more distance between neighbors, and it's a lot deeper behind the camera. And it's about 75% woods, maybe 70% woods, and the front half is pasture for cows. So literally over my shoulder, you have about 150 yards, and you're going to be in the pasture, which there's a lot of deer out there as well in the evenings. This seems to be a pass-through. There's several good trails off to my right back here that I have a camera on. I'm going to be checking that today, so hopefully you'll see some pictures here at the end of the video of what that may look like. It's been out here for about 3 weeks. I pulled the camera card after just about the first week just to see if there was any action. And I did have a few does going through the property on the trail that I thought was going to be used. So I'm kind of excited to see what I've got there after putting in a licking branch. So hopefully I'll be able to share some good pictures and some good videos with you there. With that being said, this property is going to be a new start for me that I hope to share with you guys as I go through this. But as I do that, just to give you an idea of what's going to be done, the first steps that me and my friends are going to be doing in here is clearing brush. So stay tuned for that video. I'm going to try to bring you guys some pictures and some videos of before and after of what that's going to look like. But what I hope you guys will see on this is that there's going to be very little equipment involved in this. I don't have access to a lot of equipment, and on top of that, this is not a real easy place to access. About a four-wheeler is all we're going to be able to get in here easily. With a little bit of work, I could get my pickup in here eventually. But right now, what I'm hoping to do is to be able to access the field about 150 yards this way, use a four-wheeler if needed, but to come in here and basically with hand tools and brush cutter blade on a weed eater, come in here and clear most of this. And then behind me, you'll see a couple of little oak trees. We're going to start doing a little bit of trimming in this place, but I don't have permission to just start cutting a bunch of trees. So we're going to be trimming a little bit here and there. We're going to be cutting some of the scrub trees out. We're going to leave this nice oak right here behind me to keep growing, but we're going to cut out all of the brush and the vines and the things that are kind of invasive. So we do have some different types of weeds and stuff growing along the edges of this plot that we're going to thin out slightly, but I want to keep it fairly thick in the woods as it is to make sure we're having cover for the deer as they come in. I've already noticed that there's some spots in this area along the edges that deer have been bedding, so I'm trying not to touch the edges very much. Just the center part where I will be able to establish a food plot. Again, I don't plan on this being a major food plot. This is going to be maybe 1/4 of an acre. It actually goes on into the woods several hundred yards, and it opens up into sections 10 to 15 yards wide, and then it bottlenecks down to spots barely big enough to drive a four-wheeler through. So I figure with a little bit of trimming, a little bit of cleaning, I could turn this thing into a kind of a bubbling food plot all the way down, several hundred yards. See, down in this area, what I'm going to be working on is trying to find ways to hunt this far side. This property back here goes another probably 50 acres behind the camera of just woods, and there is a couple spots back there that I could access with my saddle and probably hunt a little bit this year, and I may do that. But behind me is easy access. It's going to be right off the pasture. I can walk right down through a dry creek bed. 25 yards off the creek bed, I'll be climbing into a tree right here on the edge of this. So what I'm hoping to do is establish a good wind pattern that I can hunt where the wind is coming from the left of the camera or the right of the camera blowing out towards the field. There's a small hill behind me that hopefully will kind of shoot that scent up and out of this area, so I won't have to worry about that. The pattern that I'm looking for on these deer is left and right travel. If they're traveling from the left and the right of the camera, that's going to give me a lot better access to catching them coming through than if they start cutting up into the woods near where I'm planning to hunt. So I'm trying to find the trails. This is a new spot for me. So I'm also doing a little bit of scouting while I'm in here getting ready to start clearing. So I hope you guys will stay tuned to that. This next series that is getting ready to begin will be this plot. So follow along, hit subscribe, and see how things are going as this poor man plot begins to take shape. Today I'm just going to do a little bit of trimming just to see how hard it's going to be to get some of these weeds out of here. All I've got with me is a handsaw and some pair of trimming pruners. So I'm not going to be doing a whole lot today, just checking the card, getting some ideas, taking some pictures of where I want to do things at, getting some mental plans in place, and next week we'll be coming in here with some chainsaws, some weed cutters, and some few basic hand tools to begin this process. Another thing that we're going to be doing next week when we start this process is once we get all the brush out, we're going to hit it again with glyphosate and try to get another kill on some of these native grasses and things that are growing in here so we can get down to soil. So stay with me if you guys have tips for things. As you see behind me, some of the vegetation that I'm going to be dealing with. If you have tips and ideas on a budget that I can apply to this, put them in the comments below. Hope you guys will follow along. Stay tuned for some new things. Get out and shoot those bows. It is almost the end of July here in Missouri, and that means that we have just over a month before bow season. September 15th will be here before you know it.